It is a brand new episode of Flyers Daily here on the Flyers Broadcast Network. Flyers Daily, as always, is presented by Ticketmaster. Make more memories live. Brian Smith in today for Jason Myrtetus, as he alluded to yesterday. Treatment number 5 of 8 for him yesterday is complete, and all is well. I know that he's feeling a little better than he did after the last one. But still going to take a couple days off here to rest and recover, but hoping to be back on Monday for Mondays with Meltzer. So we're going to take you through last night's win over the Tampa Bay Lightning as the Flyers finally snapped that 5-game losing streak, got their first win of this homestand with a 4-3 decision in the shootout. That's what it took, as Matt Michkov scored in the shootout, only to see Brayden Point match him. But Owen Tippett eventually gets the game winner in round number 5, and Sam Ersson stood tall. Other than that Brayden Point goal, which was a very interesting approach to taking a shootout. Again, a lot of times you see these guys just kind of come in and meander about and then, try to fake out a goalie or whatnot. Every now and then you see somebody, usually Claude Giroux, wind up for a slap shot from 20 feet out, but Brayden Point just sprinted in on net and caught Sam Ersson maybe a little bit off guard with the speed. I wouldn't be surprised to see some folks see that and try to duplicate it themselves around the league as the rest of the year goes on here. But the important thing is the Flyers get the shootout win 4-3. And what a night it was for a brand new line of Ryan Poehling centering Bobby Brink and Olle Lycksell. As they were involved in all 3 goals for the Flyers on this one. Bobby Brink had 2 goals, 1 assist, a 3-point game, his second career game of 3 points or more. He had 1 4-pointer earlier on his career. That came actually against Pittsburgh just last month on the 25th of February. He had a goal and 3 assists for 4 points in that game where it was kind of it was a 6-1 win here at Wells Fargo Center, first half of a home with the Penguins, and it was one of those games where we're watching upstairs, and it's like, what's wrong with Pittsburgh? Because they just did not look right in that particular contest. Flyers were able to take advantage of that, but Bobby Brink had a 4-point game in that one. Now he's got a 3-point game to his credit with that one here tonight, and again, that line probably not put together on purpose. Travis Konechny had been skating with Lycksell and Poehling because Bobby Brink, Tyson Forrester, and Noah Cates have been so good together this year that John Tortorella didn't want to break them up. And that's another line that Torts has said kind of was formed on accident because they were trying to put certain guys together back in the fall, in November, really, late fall. And it was, Brink, Forrester, and Cates were the 3 left over. And that's really the only reason that they ever kind of got put together in the first place. So that one stuck for so long. But, again, it's a weird situation right now with the roster. The Flyers lost 3 forwards basically at the deadline overall. And, when you're looking at the lineup and where things stand, it was trying to find a spot to put Travis Konechny, right? Because he was kind of the outlier there. If you consider the Flyers having 7 top 6 forwards, it was a matter of where can you put TK to kind of try to get him going without maybe affecting the other 2 lines that have been going pretty well for you. But they finally decided, let's get it going here, nothing to lose. And again, for TK, that lineup there, they did do some things offensively. It looked good. Some things that are promising maybe for the rest of this run here. But it was certainly the other line that benefited the most from that change. Bobby Brink, again, number 1 star with 2 goals and assists. Ryan Poehling had a gorgeous goal in the second period of this one. Showed the capability that he's got in tight with the hands and stuff like that. And again, he's a guy that has benefited too from the Scott Lawton trade, moving up from the 4th line center to the 3rd line center. Play in a little bit more offensive situations, and we'll get a chance to show what he can do in that role. But he gets a gorgeous goal again with just under a minute left to go in the second period that gave the Flyers the 3-2 lead. And that changes the whole complexion, right, of the third period, going in there with a lead versus going in there tied. Flyers 29-1-1 this year when they were going in after a second period lead. So that certainly gives you a little bit of confidence when you're going in up a goal versus tied, especially in this situation here where the Flyers are, again, just kind of trying to right the ship a little bit after a stretch of losses here. The former Flyer Cam Atkinson in the lineup because of Nikita Kucherov's illness. He gets his fourth goal of the year. He hadn't played very much for the Lightning as of late, and been a while since he'd scored, but he gets one against his former team. You can be sure that felt good for him. That tied it in the third period, but then the shootout goes the Flyers' way with Owen Tippett getting the game winner. We caught up with Ryan Poehling after the game on the radio broadcast. He was our post-game guest, and here's what he had to say about how things went for him and for that line with Tim Saunders and Todd Fedora.
Pales, we said you guys don't have a lot of room for error right now, but you dug in and beat a good Tampa team for the second time this season.
Yeah, no, felt great. I thought the last couple of days we've been doing some good stuff and just haven't got the result we wanted. So I think tonight we did more of the same, and obviously on top of that we did even better. But it's good to see it pay off tonight.
Pales, you've seen a nice little backhand to forehand move. The second time worked out. The first time on the breakaway didn't.
Yeah.
Take us through that goal.
I think Bobby made a great play just holding on to the puck. I think we emphasize that. If you don't got anything, just hold on to it. We'll get guys around you. And he ended up making a great play to Licky, and Licky got it through to me, and I saw it a lot of time and space, so I thought I'd try it again. I'm 0 for 1, but ended up 1 for 2, which is good.
Hey, you've shown some pretty good hands here lately. Had a great chance the other night against Ottawa. Scored a big goal tonight. Talk a little bit about what worked with that line. Obviously, Bobby Brink had his best game of the season, but as a trio, you guys were all good.
Yeah, I think we just honestly understood one another. That's the biggest thing. We were connected all game, as you saw it. It started in the defensive zone, whether it was breaking out as a group of 5 or neutral zone, just knowing where one another are and staying close in the offensive zone. So, I mean, when you do that, it makes it easy to play with, and I think we all did that great tonight.
Well, that line accounted for all 3 Flyer goals in regulation time as the Flyers beat Tampa in the shootout 4-3. Ryan, appreciate you doing this, and good luck Saturday against the Canes.
Thank you, guys.
That's Ryan Poehling talking with Tim Saunders and Todd Fedora after the game on the radio broadcast last night. And again, a much-needed win for the Flyers just in terms of their overall psyche. I mean, there's a lot of games left here, 17 or so, I think, 16, 17. And, it's going to be a run here where it's going to be some tough road to hoe here, especially this next 5 games, all of them against playoff teams. Got Carolina coming in Saturday. Got to try to beat Tampa again on Monday. And then Washington will be in the picture next. Doesn't look like the Flyers will be involved in Alex Ovechkin's pursuit of Wayne Gretzky's record, at least as far as not him breaking it. Looks like he'll be a little bit further down the road with that, but I suppose you never know between now and then. And then it's Dallas right after the Washington game. So lots of good teams ahead here for the Flyers. They're playing low event hockey is what they got to do. They just got to, again, defend well, try to check forward. That's, John Tortorella's mantra all the time is to check forward and try to create some offense and then really just take advantage of what's given them. And that's kind of their approach here because, they don't have the personnel here for the rest of the season to run and gun with a lot of teams. And it's just it's just where we're at right now, right? It's just where we're at in the rebuild with this team. There is no right or wrong about it. Flyers did exactly what they needed to do at the deadline, given where they were and how many teams they had to jump ahead. I know Danny Briere talked about this yesterday here on Flyers Daily. There were 5 or 6 teams that the Flyers would have had to jump ahead to get to a playoff spot, despite the fact they were only maybe 4 or 5 out at the deadline. So, they do what they need to do in terms of planning for the future. They bring in a bunch more draft picks and certainly moving out some guys that were key cogs in the offense for this season, but doing so with the eye on improving for the future. And that's, again, what they need to be doing right now. But that is going to mean it's going to be a little bit of an uphill battle here for the rest of this season. But that's okay. That's how it is right now with this team, and we'll see where the offseason takes us. We were talking a little bit about this earlier on in the evening in the past couple of days. Is it does feel like the rebuild probably is moved up, maybe by a full year. Again, just with the overall situation around the National Hockey League with the salary cap going up. The Flyers didn't think they'd have a ton of cap room until after next season. 25-26 is when they lose a bunch of extra money off their books from some dead contracts. But they did move some money off the books this year with the Joel Farabee trade. And not to mention, the Scott Laughton trade, a little bit less in terms of overall money because of salary retained. But when you combine those couple of things, it gave you a little bit of wiggle room with the NHL salary cap going up, which gives you more wiggle room. Now you're looking at a situation where maybe they can bring in some pieces. And I don't think you're going to see them bring in the home run piece. You're not going to see them bring in the huge name, I don't think, in this offseason, not unless something happens that we're not seeing as of yet. But with all the picks that they have and some of the cap space, you could see them start to look into bringing in some of these, these guys that they're going to use to build around what they already have. And you never know who you can bring in that's going to be a guy that benefits from a change of scenery and kind of takes off, or B, a guy that comes in and meshes well with what the Flyers have, because that's a thing in the National Hockey League. You can get a guy that might just be a middle of the road player right now wherever he is around the league, and you come in and all of a sudden he gels with a Matvei Michkov or an Owen Tippett or whoever. And, all of a sudden that can kind of take off a little bit. And it's one of those little weird things you see in hockey sometimes. You see some guy come in and, get with a specific player or on a specific line, and all of a sudden their performance takes off. So that's the kind of thing the Flyers are looking for at this stage of the game, is just to see who they can bring in to build this team up a little bit here in the offseason. They will, again, have a little bit of money to spend. They've got a lot of draft capital, as Jason talked about yesterday, that they can use to kind of make these deals a little bit more sweeter. It is looking like more and more that the trade last year that moved the Florida pick from the Claude Giroux trade from this past season to this upcoming season, it's looking better and better for them, because that pick obviously would have ended up being the last pick in the round last year. Right now it's Edmonton's pick, and they were it's going to depend on when Edmonton gets knocked out of the playoffs, obviously, if they don't win the cup. But that pick certainly could not have been any lower in the first round last year than it ended up being. So the Flyers might have an opportunity to get a little bit of a better look out of that pick they got in the Claude Giroux trade. So it's going to be an exciting summer. I think there's going to be a lot going on, but we still have a lot to get through here in this season, and there's going to be a lot of evaluating going on, a lot of individual evaluating, a lot of group evaluating, who's working well together, what do they want to keep, what do they want to tweak, what are they going to move out. So there's going to be a lot of that going on here. And the one thing is that there's certainly no question that the group that's here is going to try to win every game. It's just in their DNA. It's just how hockey works. The coaches want to win every game. The players want to win every game. But that's going to be the focus, I think, on the rest of the season, is just, again, seeing how some of these guys come together, and some of the exciting things that are coming forward. Danny Briere talked about it yesterday. Like last year, guys like Travis Konechny and Noah Cates took a step. This year, you could argue that Noah Cates has taken another step, and maybe Owen Tippett has taken a step. Jamie Drysdale definitely looking like the player the Flyers were envisioning when they brought him in the Cutter-Gauthier trade. Bobby Brink has taken a step this year. There's no question. Tyson Forrester, and I think both those guys have the potential to just take another step next year. So there are a lot of promising pieces that are here, and right now it's just going to be planning to add around it here as the off season comes up. So again, it's short term, a little bit bumpy here for the Flyers, but again, they get the much needed 2 points tonight. Again, more for their psyche and their mental state than anything. Give them a little bit of a boost going here into the Carolina game, which will be tomorrow night at Wells Fargo Center. Tickets available at PhiladelphiaFlyers.com. Then it's on the road for 5 games, and we'll keep you up to speed on the entire road trip. It is Tampa, Washington, then to Dallas, Chicago, and it will wrap up in Toronto. A 5-game, 10-day trip. And then the Flyers are going to come back home for 3 more at the end of March. So tickets also available for those at PhiladelphiaFlyers.com. It's Montreal, Buffalo, and Nashville on the back end before a handful of games will wrap up the season in April. So we are getting down to the wire here. As of today, it's a month and a day left in this NHL season. So we're going to enjoy as much of it as we can here. Starting tomorrow night against the Carolina Hurricanes. Again, our best to Jason Myrtetus. He is going to rest up here over the weekend, and hopefully we'll see him back on Monday with Bill Meltzer. But if not, Bill and I will go through kind of how things are going here for the Flyers coming out of this homestand and take a look at the upcoming road trip and just talk a little bit about some of the pieces that we've seen here over the last 7 games, what some of these guys have been able to do in terms of bringing up their game and getting ready to finish strong here as the season starts to wind down. So that's going to do it for this edition of Flyers Daily. Again, we'll be back with you on Monday with Bill Meltzer right here on the Flyers Broadcast Network. And we hope you all have a great weekend and enjoy the game.